also alumni, of course. Um, Involved in all the familiar clubs you probably all know, from Mesa to Ship to Ideas. Actually, when Ideas was there, um, and I think I was there at SBC for 4 years, transferred to Northridge as well, and was at Northridge for 2.5 years. So it was about 6.5 years of a good struggle, and definitely worth it. Now I'm a senior software engineer at Raytheon Technologies in Goleta. Also the vice president of OLA, the organization, uh, Hispanic Organization for Leadership Advancement. So it's like a ERG within um, Raytheon for Hispanics. So I monitor several sites across the West region at Raytheon. Been enjoying it, been being promoted, kind of leveling up, getting more experience, and it's definitely been awesome and a blessing there. Um, I will introduce Luis Garfias. He also couldn't make it. He's on travel. I think he was in Costa Rica, I think, this time around. I don't
Spain.
know where this guy is anymore. He's been to Peru, Costa Rica, Mexico, España, McAllen, Texas. He's traveling for work basically. He works at Appeal Scientists, looking over packing houses where they're applying their solution, Appeal's special solution, on fruit and vegetables. He was also involved in all the familiar clubs, and he actually went to UCSB. He didn't went to Northridge. Went to UCSB and graduated in 2013. I think else about Luis. Where do we come from? Noah, do you want to?
This was my. I think this is yours.
So we have some of the pictures of kind of memories of where we kind of came from. Um, Top left is Luis and I back in, I don't know, 2009, when we actually participated in a play together. We actually acted part of Ideas. We did a play called Los Vendidos, um, basically about stereo kind of typical immigrants coming to United States. Lower left hand side, we have that was the our year for Ship when Neff was the president. You can see some familiar faces there. Um, Four of those are actually Raytheon engineers right now. Hoping to get more there. And then bottom center is Noah and I when we did Ship RLDC at UCSB. So that was kind of
What year
local.
was that? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't
20,
know. We don't have any
2010,
gray hair in that,
2011?
so it's fairly early on. Um, and then, yeah, top left is Ohio, I believe, a Ship National Conference
Center.
when it was Victoria, the founding president for Ship, Neff, and then Luis Garfias. And then upper right, San Diego RLDC. We actually traveled on train from Santa Barbara to San Diego. Neff, Noe, myself, and then we call him Oso, but his name is Osiel Flores. And then bottom right, I was not involved in that, but Noe,
I think you took the picture. That's what it was.
probably.
That was our that was one of the extracurricular activities that we took part of during that SBCC. That was actually an international soccer tournament, which we ended up in second place. We lost by 1 goal, but that's just the kind of level of camaraderie we had. You know how close we were as a group, that were able to do those kind of events. And not everyone there was from Ship, but I think, or from Mesa, but I think more than 50% of them were.
So Abe has a question for you guys. Who is the best soccer player in your team?
I won't say anything. I'll let one answer.
Well, are you best defender, best goalie, best
Yeah.
forward, or what do you want? Because we're all good at something.
Yeah, that's what I said. All good at different positions.
Yeah.
Noah's the striker. I'm a good goalie. Neff's a good defender. Luis, I think, is a midfielder.
Yep.
Yeah, he's getting benched too.
Don't tell him that.
It's recorded.
He's not here. It's okay.
Okay, moving on. So one of the reasons why we started the foundation was because we would think back to our struggles, and the obstacles we had. Um, a lot of us didn't really we were not stellar students back in the day, and part of that was because we either had requirements where we had to work full time while going to school. Others had family responsibilities outside of work. Um, all of us, I think, is prior to entering Mesa, we didn't really know where we were going with our careers or in school. I remember having conversations of asking, what does an engineer do? What is what are we really getting into? So guidance and mentorship really wasn't there at the beginning. Up until we got into the group of hanging around with Mesa students and meeting people like Armando. A lot of us also didn't have the residency status. We were, I don't think DACA was in place back then. There was an AB 540, which I think is still going on today, right?
AB 540. Yep.
So that was helpful, but it was a struggle that we faced. Um, so those were kind of the struggles that we faced when we were students. And thinking back, those played a lot of had a lot in play for when we created the foundation, and we wanted to help people with that kind of with those same struggles. I would say. Anything you want to say there, Juan?
No, I think that's good. That was kind of the foundation why we knew we struggled. We knew we suffered. We had some bad grades. We knew that that together we could make it. So once we graduated, actually, from university, we wanted to start foundation and give back, and that was the main reason why. So yeah, we created this foundation for Ingenieros Foundation in 2015, and our mission, just believe in providing educational assistance towards underrepresented students who have the vision to obtain a career in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we really see a world where minorities are key contributors to and innovators for in the fields, in the STEM fields. And that's kind of what we thrive and try to drive and achieve through our foundation. Um, and this year has been difficult, through the pandemic. Definitely, like, just putting a pause on things and kind of rethinking and kind of reevaluating our priorities, and it's been difficult. So we want to share with you some of the things of that, good and bad, that we've kind of struggled through in the past year or so. um, and yeah, we'll get started.
So I'll start with introducing Neff. So we asked him to write a little, something to tell us all since he can't be here. So he says, I work remote for the first 3 months, mostly working on documentation, data analysis, and getting ready to launch a new product in the automotive tech market. So he's very, very busy nowadays. And then after the 3 months, we return to work, working at the facility. In-person manufacturing support is essential to keep building and producing quality products. It was a pretty safe environment. Extensive cleaning duties were implemented during our working hours, and no incidents have been reporting in our facility. And that's not what he looks like at work. That he put that on because I don't know. That's not really what they use.
So what actually he has, I don't know if anybody know what he has on actually.
Oh,
He has, I think it's Microsoft's, no, it's not Microsoft's, it's a VR headset. And I think they're using that to do remote automate not remote guidance and
Right.
tutoring and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So you can kind of visualize what the other engineers doing far away. So it's actually kind of perfect technology for this time right now, where we're trying to keep social distancing, and as this technology matures, we'll probably start seeing it more and more. But yeah, he's using a VR headset to kind of see either drawings or what the other person's seeing. So that was kind of cool.
And then myself, I I've been working remotely since last year of March. Um, but we were kind of I was kind of lucky because we were granted a contract right around April time last year, and we went into what is called a test phase, which is downtime in engineering, because everything they go test this unit out in the desert, and we don't really get involved. They just kind of run through all the tests. If something goes off, then we kind of step in, but there's other people that step in. Um, so so it was a good time for me, to be able to work from home and catch up on a lot of documentation and all that kind of stuff, which was I was able to do that from home. In retrospect, if I would have been in a design phase, it would have been really difficult because during design phase we work a lot with each other at the site, and then we are always testing, unit that we want to put in our design. So we have to be there at the lab testing, working with the technicians, making sure that the tests are coming up, the results are okay, so we can move forward with our design. So it was kind of a blessing for us to go into this test phase. And just recently, I've been back a couple of weeks because I've been running some tests. So I've been going back full time, and our plan to return to work is estimated for August. I think they're gonna start phasing people in right around June if they've been vaccinated, and it's voluntarily if they want to go back in. But they expect everyone to be back on August. But on the personal level, working from home, I was able to spend a lot of time with the family. I have two little ones, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and so household is very busy. So it's been a blessing to be able to be at home and spend time with the kids, because when I'm working full time, we wake up with them, we hand them off to daycare, and then we don't see them for 8 hours. We come back, and by the time we get back, it's kind of late. So it was really nice to be able to spend the whole time with them. Um, and also, I got to work on a lot of projects from home. We were just talking about this prior to starting. I got to do some landscape in both my front yard and my backyard. I built a little playground for the kids in the backyard, and then I've been working on restoring a Trans Am Pontiac Firebird, 1978. I wish I would have put some pictures here for that. But so and then I also was gonna put a pool in the backyard. I talked to Juan about this, but I was immediately shut down by both my wife and the city of Bilton. They didn't let me put it where I wanted it to be.
It was more the
So maybe
wife, but okay.
that's in the works later. And then I wanted to play this little video for you guys. We don't have to watch the whole thing. It's a bit excessive, but just to give you an idea of what we do at work.
Everyone can hear sound. Thumbs up for sound.
So no
Okay.
sound.
Sound
That's
doesn't
all
work.
right. So what we work with is our turrets, and these are the latest turrets that we have designed. This is a marketing video that they just put out when we received the grant, the contract. And
platform is light enough for a tactical vehicle.
I'll let it play.
Yet it has more firepower and many.
Can you just hear sound now? And I can't see you now.
Yes.
Okay.
Tanks, RIP has the capability to defeat them without them even knowing we're there. This product will change the future of warfare as we know it.
Let me know in a way once you want to.
I think I was muted. Yeah, we can skip now one if you want. That's what we do at work.
Mine doesn't have audio; it's just more background. And I wish I could show you a picture of where I work or the stuff I do, but unfortunately, it's all classified. But I work at Raytheon. We work specifically on electronic warfare systems. So basically, anything to do with radar. So radar from um, any radar that goes on on an aircraft. So actually behind me in my that pod, kind of inverse, has an electronic warfare system, and basically it's a small, very small computer that goes really that's processing a lot of the radar and pulses out there really fast, and we use them to either ID or to either jam. During this pandemic, I actually didn't work from home, unfortunately. I need access to the labs. I need to be in person working with the hardware, flashing the software, and working with a lot of the engineers in person. Um, but Raytheon really did take care of us in terms of putting hand sanitizer everywhere, checking our temperature, had face shields for us. And if there was any symptoms, you would get quarantined for 2 weeks, or anybody in your home was sick, you would get quarantined for 2 weeks. So they were very strict on what we had to do. Their main priority, since we are defense part of the defense industry, we were essential. So our things still have to continue. Our projects still have to continue. Um, in terms of my personal life, a lot changed. I think more positive for me personally, which I'm grateful for. The negative. Um, I bought a home. I live now in Buellton. So that was a great achievement. Been saving up for a couple of years now, more than a couple of years. I got some chickens. I got a dog. Um, chickens se llaman caldo y mole. My dog's name is Mezcal. Um, and I got engaged. So it's a lot for me this year. Thank you. And it's been good. Oh, I also started my master's this last year. So pursuing my master's in data engineering. Hopefully, that's basically artificial intelligence. So been learning a lot recently about neural networks, convolutional networks, recursive networks. There's a lot. It's interesting. It's really just modeled a lot of the technology and a lot of the formulas. The concepts are just modeled by neurons that we have in our brain. So it's really interesting. Hopefully, in the future, once I get my degree, I can give you a little machine learning 101 on everybody and kind of demystify what artificial intelligence is and stuff like that. Um, and no, just been enjoying it, and hopefully, since Raytheon is paying for my master's, I'm going to be there for 3-4 more years. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So I'll talk about Luis. Luis is in the back right here with a black mask on. He works at Appeal Sciences, like I mentioned. He's been traveling a lot. Texas, Mexico, Costa Rica. I think he's home maybe once a month. That's the best case scenario. So he's out and about. He sends us pictures of Costa Rica, the jungle out there. He's not in the touristy areas, but he still has a good time. I think I think they did isolate them for a little bit of time, but since his duties are abroad and he had to travel, um, and let's see, what am I missing here? He did get vaccinated, but he mentions that other countries don't have access or very limited supply of access to the vaccine. So he is still kind of fearful, and at least for his coworkers or the people he manages. So he says, just yeah, it's a privilege here in the United States that we have access to that vaccine. Yeah, and that's Luis.
So I have a question from a student for you, Juan.
Yep.
What is your goal with getting your master's in data engineering?
Yeah, so that's a great question. How are we doing on time? I'll try to keep it short. So when I entered Raytheon, I've kind of saw the levels from software engineering 1 to software engineering 2 to senior engineer 2, principal, and I've kind of aligned goals for myself to kind of hit those every 2-3 years, those marks, those, and achieve those goals, so I can be more promotional and kind of advance my career. So one of my goals is hopefully in 2 more years, once I get my master's, getting my master's allowed me to get promoted to hopefully principal software engineer and allow me to work on machine learning stuff. Recently, there is a project at Raytheon that is doing more machine learning, and a lot of the skilled people are in El Segundo, and really no one's here in Goleta. So if I can be that person, that's me. I think I have a pretty good career locally. So that was my goals. If there isn't that opportunity, we do have Google in Santa Barbara. They do quantum computing, and we have Amazon. So I can definitely transfer to those companies and do maybe some machine learning there. So I know the opportunities are endless. So I'm just trying to keep open as many doors for me as possible.
It's the future.
Yep. Um, so for Luis on appeal sciences personally, um, he's just thankful that his family's okay. His friends have all survived the virus. His work-life balance, I don't think he has one right now. But 12 to 14 hours working a day. Yeah, sometimes we call him and he's still working. Like, hey, I can't join your meeting. I'm at this facility or managing or whatever. He's definitely unfortunately been disconnected from us. We've missed him. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually one of the machines he operates. He kind of manages the people who operate it. And that I think I'm gonna assume that the fruit and vegetables go through the conveyor belts on that green part
Mhm.
and they get sprayed with their solution. But yeah. What's ahead for Ingenieros 2022? I think that's someone. No, do you want to kind of kick it off? And
So we had plans for 2020 and they got shut down. And we were really, really, really excited to get that competition going. So for those of you who don't know, we have an annual competition, engineering competition where we bring students from SBCC, from Ellen Hancock up in Santa Maria, and even some from Ventura we had, I believe, on the last one. And so, by the way, you guys can learn about all of our previous events that we've had in our website. This is right there. And we have an average of about 30 to 40 people per competition, sometimes a little more, depending what budget allows. And so 2020, we're gonna partner off with a local company. I don't want to send any surprise. It's a surprise. I don't want to
you
send
guys
that.
would have had fun.
Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun, but it got shut down, and we were really sad about that. But that doesn't mean we can't do it for 2022 now, and that is the plan. So 2022, we want to get back in schedule. This year didn't allow us to do that either, um, just like everything else. And 2022 seems to be the year where everything might be back to a little bit of normal. So we are actively working on that competition. Um, we also have other events that we like to do during the year, smaller events where we partner up with other organizations like the Housing Foundation of Santa Barbara. Those are also been put on hold, so we're not doing that this year. And maybe 2022 we might get back to that. But yeah, we're just really really excited for our next competition and get back with everybody.
Yeah, no promises, no hard promises here, but we are very hopeful for 2022. Hopefully, that time frame in April for students. Be on the lookout for that. If you are transferring or are graduating, we're always looking for volunteers. Some of I've been showing pictures here, and some of the students always do come back and help because they had a blast. Um, uh, and there's students who have, because of the competition, have been able to put that on the resume and use that as leverage to get internships. Famously, I always remember Selena getting an internship at Amazon. I think Mary Grace Sai, you also had an anecdote about NASA and using some of those skills there. Hopefully, I'm like not making this up.
Yeah, I I had the opportunity to go to NCAS with Armando, and then we definitely used like the team collaboration skills because that was really, really important there. And it got us through really well. So yeah, very, very, very good competitions.
Thank you, Mary, for sharing that.
Yeah. I think with anything else, Noe?
So one quick anecdote I just want to talk about, because this was how we started with Fifth. Back when we were in Mesa, we had an event where we did a robotics competition, and I believe back then the budget only allowed a few people to go. It was myself, um, Isidro was gonna go, but at the end he didn't go, and it was Edith Rodriguez,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And so I think it was just me and Edith that went, and that competition just opened my eyes up to programming. It was just such a good experience, and just when we were thinking about this foundation and we thought of a competition, I said I want everybody that's in Mesa, or to experience something like that. So our very first competition, if I'm not mistaken, actually the second one, because we had a little bit more funds, was that same exact robotics competition, and that's the one where I think people were just like myself. We were exposed to or introduced to the fundamentals of programming, and where we made a little robot. I don't know if we can find that in the website. Made a little Bobot, it's called, and we had an obstacle course, and we programmed it so that it could go through this obstacle course and reach the finish line. And I just thought it was the amount of satisfaction that I got from that, the fact that I was able to bring that back to the center and have so many people enjoy that and experience that is just amazing that we were able to get that done. And it couldn't have been done without the help of Virginia, Armando. We had so many. We had some professors that were involved. Mike Young was there.
Don Ian.
Yes.
Don Ian. Yep. It was a really good time. So I like to always bring that one back. And we have other ones in store. We always start coming up with that. We see something online, and we think we have a chat where we talk almost every day, and we see something that comes up online, and if it's a new device, a new gadget, we're always throwing it in as an idea. We should do this for the next engineer foundation, for the next competition. We should, coming up with ideas. But yeah, that's what we do. Anything else you want to share, Juan?
No, I guess in terms of the students, the benefits that you get are immense in terms of, because the way we present the competition, we present it like a project that we would work on at work.
Mhm.
You would have sometimes a budget, sometimes you have requirements, and you have a team, and you have a deadline. Those kind of four things are what I believe is helpful to get for you to be exposed, so you understand what is kind of the real life world. If you want to do industry, whether it's commercial or defense, and because you always have those four things, and it's about juggling all those four things and making the right decision, because you might have the right solution, but it might jump you. You might go over budget, right? So then, is it really the best solution? But it might take you longer. Well, is it the best solution? So it's a balance of everything. So for us providing this competition, it's a little bit of providing that experience, and not just in one specific field like mechanical engineering or software or electrical. It's kind of giving you an understanding of everything, because engineering is everything. It's multidiscipline. I just don't just work on software. I have to work with electrical engineers, system engineers, mechanical engineers, because together we make awesome products. We solve the toughest solutions, and sometimes we have to get creative on how we do them. But yeah, so that's my little pitch to you all, and I think we're open for questions. So feel free, if I know we have a lot of time, ask us anything. By the way, the answer to life is 42. So
Let me just mention one, for those
Yeah.
that haven't been to an engineering competition, all materials are free,
Yep.
provided by the foundation.
Yep.
They're really good at raising funds. And also just spend pretty much the whole day, but it's a day you're not gonna ever forget. It's really cool.
Yep.
We do provide breakfast. We try to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner sometimes. Sometimes we can't do dinner. Well, I mean, dinner when the project takes that long. But
Yeah, there's
we
some,
try to keep you guys fed with snacks and Gatorades, hydrated, all that good stuff.
there's some raised hands up there.
Yeah, Almendra was one of the person that wanted
Oh,
to say
I see
something.
people raising their hands. Yeah, Almendra, go for it.
Yes.
And then Diana. And she's muted.
Oh.
Go ahead, Minda.
There's 7 issues with the.
Maybe.
We'll come back to you, Almendra. Dan, do you want to go?
Hi. So for the
Oh, there we
competition
go.
that you guys want to do, you're considering doing what you had ideas.
I didn't catch
Hey.
that.
I
think her
think
audio
she's
is,
having
delayed.
internet issues. Do you want to just type it into the chat? I think you're having internet issues there. While she's typing it, Diana, do you want to go?
Yeah. Hearing you guys talk, I kind of have 2 questions, but one of them is, in your career, you're all working on like separate fields within engineering. Do you ever have like a job opportunity where maybe it like conflicts with your personal beliefs, and are you conflicted in like, oh, I want to take that job, but it's like for example, I don't want to work on war elements, but I do want to take that job, it's a great opportunity. How do you balance that?
So you let me help you let me help. I want to understand more your question. Are you talking more like we work in the defense industry and kind of like struggling with that and why we work there kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess like for myself, I know that, well, in biology, like there's a lot of like lab work, and then it involves animals, like, studying animals, then, they have to do tests, and it's like
Okay.
the ethical conflict, like any of that.
Yeah. So good question. I can try to stab at that. So working in defense industry, I get that kind of question a lot. And in my response, of course, I am biased. I work in the defense industry. That what's put and then food on my table is I respond with freedom isn't free. Unfortunately, we live in a world that is very I wish, yeah, we didn't have wars. I wish nobody was doing bad things or killing people. But unfortunately, in order to protect some of what we believe, we have to defend. And always going back to freedom isn't free. And actually, Dr. Nick, when I talk in Engineer 101, he kind of says sometimes, who would you rather have the bigger stick, right? The United States or another country? Who do you trust more to kind of carry those decisions? And that's kind of how I've interpreted it. There has actually been occasions where there have been parents approach me and totally be against the defense industry, and I get that and I understand that. And my response then, well, are you voting? Are you talking to your member of Congress? Because in the end, we all have kind of vote and a say in that. And so that's my response. I am kind of encountering, and I just took a class. It was more of a lecture on machine learning and the ethics about that, because now you have algorithms making decisions based on data that potentially is biased, that may be skewed in one direction. It might be totally ignoring a segment of the population, a minority maybe. And I think as scientists and engineers, we have to ask those questions. We have to be more involved in those decisions. Um, yes, as engineers, and we do have the power to say no, I don't want to work on that, and you can literally leave the company if you want. Um, but most companies have those their own ethics, their own vision, their own values. So those are questions to ask those companies, and ask. I know there was for stem cell research for 10 years. There's like, no, we're not going to touch it. Finally, China, some rogue scientist out there published a paper on that. He did research on that, and then he vanished. So um, basically, we have to be vocal. We have to kind of give our opinion. Also, be participate in some of these uh, political kind of events and speak out. No, I don't know if you have
Yeah,
anything
no,
on that.
I was actually faced with that predicament prior to starting with Moog, right? Because I actually used to work with LEDs. I used to design LED power supplies, but the company that I worked for, Cree, which was in Goleta, they decided to close that branch, and everybody was laid off. And I started looking for jobs. I reached out to Armando, and I had other prospects as well. But when I learned about Moog and the opportunities there, and saw that it was a really good opportunity, yes, I was faced with that same predicament where I'm coming from a place where I'm doing LEDs. All of a sudden, I'm gonna go build power supplies for guns or for missiles. Um, so you think about that, yeah. And are you pro war? Are you against the war? The way I see it is, to me, I kind of block that out, and I say, I'm I'm designing a power supply that has to be efficient in the same way that I used to do them for Cree, that I have to do the same way that I'm doing it for Moog now. And if you just focus on that alone, it I don't know. It's kind of you're not showing what's behind the curtains, I guess. But I I I rather not I rather not see it through that way. You know, I'm there to do a good job at what I'm good at doing, and and just focus on that, knowing that that's going to provide for my family. So yeah, it is. You definitely will encounter those questions when 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 you're faced, with the job opportunity. For sure. Good question. Does that answer the question? I don't know if you had other.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
thank you.
had two questions, so I know that was number one.
If I mean, if we want to do another question, but
Let's see
it
if
was,
yeah,
yeah, I'll type
Almendra.
it in.
Okay,
I
I don't see her question on there, so feel free.
Okay. Well, the question was, how did you guys know that like this was your not responsibility, but like this was something you had to do, was like support these people? Because like, not these like we go through, a lot of people struggle through the same things, and most of us just like close off and we're like, we made it, we're done. Like, why did you guys personally feel like I have to go back and help these people?
You want
Great
to take that
question. I
first,
love that
Noah, and then
question.
I'll follow.
So yes, we were, and it wasn't something that just kind of switched on the lights and said, "Oh, we're done." Let's go back and help. We had, during our careers, because we worked together for 6 years at SBCC, another 3 years uh, at Cal State Northridge. We were that was um, a constant topic that we would discuss, of how lucky we were that we made it. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we saw a lot of not a lot, few, maybe a few of our friends who didn't make it. Their struggles. We all go through struggles, but maybe something that, the person next to you is going through something that they just can't face, and they can't keep going on their studies. And so we felt like we were very blessed, and we owe a lot of that to Mesa and to Virginia and to Armando. And we felt that really great sense of moral responsibility, where we had made it. We couldn't just say, that's it, we're done. And I see what you mean, because yeah, I see that a lot with some of my coworkers, and I even posed a question to them. I asked them, hey, was it hard for you? And some of them, surprisingly, if you ask, I want to I want to challenge everybody to go and ask this to other engineers, because if you ask them, was your major hard? Was it hard for you to get a degree? A lot of them will just say no. It was kind of part of the plan. I knew I was going to knock it out in 2 years. I knew I was knock it out in 3 years. But for me, at least, and I think I speak for four of us, that wasn't the case. There were a lot of times when I was ready to drop out, and life just kept throwing curveballs at each other, at each one of us, and the fact that we made it because we had such a strong support system, that was a moral responsibility, where we said no, we need to help. We need to go back and help these guys. And I have my own way. I was telling you, we were talking about this, Juan and I, yesterday. I have my own way of why we started so early in our process, because a lot of people wait. And we talked to other organizations where they say, well, you guys started so early, right after your careers. Sometimes you go work for a while, you make some money, you have some freedom, and then you go back and help. But I tell Juan, I'm still fresh. I still know what classes you need to take or not take. I still know, if I can, I'll be more helpful now to you than I will be in 5 years from now. So that was the idea, that we wanted to go back right away. And this is true for any system where you have an input and an output. I was trying to explain this to Juan yesterday. You have an input and an output, and then you have a feedback loop. I don't know if this is going to make sense to the students, make sense to engineers. You have a feedback loop that will feed from the output directly to the input, and then it makes the output better. That is a direct feedback process, and it's true for engineering. We do it for electrical systems. Juan does it for his networking systems. And it just makes sense to me to just go back and help now, so that the next generations of students are more prepared and can get there faster and don't have to struggle as much.
Yeah, it's. I agree with everything Noah said. For me, also, I always look back at where I came from. My parents came to this country with nothing on their back, and being first generation, and I assume most of you are also first generation. Um, we're we have a steeper hill to climb. Um, I was listening to a podcast about the unspoken rules of the workplace, and it was talking about how students who their parents attended college, university, they, because of their parents, they learn about these unspoken rules. I call it street smarts for the professional world. How do you get that job? How do you turn in a resume, right? You don't just turn in a piece of paper and forget about it. Well, you do follow up, you kind of reach out, you expose yourself. So um, part of giving back is also hopefully teaching you all and giving you those networking opportunities, those connections, um, to get into the workplace. Because I had to learn that, of course, through help of Virginia and Armando, um, and I think, lucky. You would say I worked hard. Yes, I worked hard, but a little bit was luck and networking and being in the right place, the right time. I feel like it's a balance of everything. And why not give back? Because I didn't do it alone. Why should you guys have to do it alone? And if I can help a little bit, I make myself available. Noah does too, for anything, in terms of resume building, interviews. Let's just talk. You're struggling. Let's talk. Sometimes it's just good to have what I call the rubber ducky. In programming, you have a little rubber ducky on the side of your computer. And if you're stuck on a problem, you tell your rubber ducky the problem. We can be that rubber ducky too. Sometimes it just helps to say things out loud, to kind of clear things out. And if I had to be a little bit greedy here, you guys are building the next generation. I want to retire in that awesome technology that you guys are going to build. So that's kind of my answer to that question, why we give back.
So I have a question from Abe. Do any of you guys deal with imposter syndrome? And if so, how are you able to overcome it?
Every day, and we never overcome it. um, it won't go away. It's hard. It's difficult. Um, but the thing I tell people is, how did you get where you are now? Right? And think of those feelings that you had 2 weeks ago. Basically, I'm saying it's step by step. Don't think far ahead. Take that next step. For me, my fiance now is like, oh, you have another presentation today? I don't see you nervous. Well, it's also practice, right? You're going to be faced with all these opportunities to present, to do big things. But don't focus about the future. Focus about that next step, and have reassurance that because you made it this far, who says you can't make it another step and another step? So that's kind of what I always picture myself. I'm going to have an opportunity to actually do machine learning in the next couple months. And I've taken 2 classes in machine learning. Do I consider myself an expert? No. Am I nervous? Yeah. Am I having imposter syndrome? Yeah. But I trust that, yeah, I can take it day by day. And if I need to study one of these nights, I will go study. If I need to go ask a coworker for questions or answers, I will go ask them. So you're also not alone. And you won't be the last person. Right?
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. I think it's something that we all deal with, especially in this hard major that we chose, where we just don't think that we're worthy. We don't think we're ever gonna make it. But like you said, it's all one step at a time. Don't focus on the don't look at the end of the path yet. Take it day by day and enjoy it. Learn that master that topic that you're doing now in school. Get over that bump, and you'll be more prepared. Don't start thinking about I'm not gonna do well in this class, and how am I gonna do the next class? If I can't do that next class, how am I gonna do the don't do that. You just got to take it step by step, and really just buck it down and enjoy it. It's a long process. Yeah, it's gonna take time. It's gonna be hard, but you can do it. Everybody can do it. If we
Yeah,
were able
if we made it, you guys can do it. Trust us.
Yep. Good question.
Any more questions?
Go ahead, Almendra.
Hi again. Sorry, my phone was overheating. Earlier I was asking about the engineering competition, like the one that you guys have coming up. So do you still plan to do what you guys had planned last year that you didn't want to tell us, or do you have a new idea?
Noah and I were struggling about this because he wanted to tell you. I don't want to tell you.
We can either deny or confirm.
Wow, thanks.
We don't want to spoil it.
So
Good one.
remember what we were gonna do last? Was it 2020, 2000?
2019.
2019? It's gonna be even better. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Almendra, you're going to have to volunteer and help out.
Yeah, I'd like to be there.
Perfect. Just know that we have more time to prepare for it this time. We have 2 years to prepare.
God, no excuses. You've had an extra year.
All right, go ahead, Monica.
Hello. I was just going to ask how we should reach out to you if we are interested in helping out with that next competition. Is it like some volunteer form that's going to pop up closer to the competition day?
Yeah, in our website, if you scroll to the very bottom, hopefully I'm still showing my screen, there is a newsletter. You can subscribe to our updates. That's the best way to kind of keep up what we're doing and any events and stuff like that. Subscribe to that newsletter.
But you're correct. There will be a form, and you'll be able to fill in. We usually do it by time slots. You can either do whatever time you want to help out with. That's a blessing for us. And we break it up to, you can be in the morning, afternoon, in the evening, whichever. Um, so yeah, there's a form, an official form once we get closer to the competition.
Oh,
I
thought
have a question about giving back. You know, I know that me, the alumni in Mesa at SPCC have blown me away. And I kind of tell these students now that are part of the council that I don't want to see them also sever their ties once they move away. But you know, you said something really important. Is it the need to give back? Is it because you put yourself back in the place of being a student? Or what do you think is really what's propelling you to continue to give back? Either one of you.
So I do have to head out, Virginia. But I will let Noah answer it. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I did put the links in the chat. And then yeah, hopefully Noah had no pressure. Keep the fort down.
And that will be the last question too, by the way, because I do see we ran over 8 minutes. All right, thank you, you guys. It's great. But Noah, what makes you want to?
I'll see everybody. Thank you.
All right, Juan, see ya. Yeah, it is the fact that I think back to the times when we were students, and I think a lot about that robotics competition and what it did to me, and how it changed my life, and how it changed my way of looking at academics, and because it totally introduced me to something new that otherwise I would have never seen, and I would have gotten to. I would have transferred. I would have gotten there, but I would have been behind in that sense, you know, where I wouldn't have ever let myself. Nobody was ever going to bring that up to me. I didn't have a person who was going to tell me you should look at this code, you should learn this code, you should. So I often think about that was a turning point for me. And I wanted to share that with everybody else. And one of the things that we forgot to mention is, so once I did that competition, I was able to put that on my resume. And with that in my resume, I was able to get into internships and things like that, that otherwise it would have put me at a disadvantage from other people, right? So the goal for our competitions is for you guys to have that ability to put that stuff down on your resumes and have a starting point, not just show up or apply for opportunities with a blank resume, which was the case for many of us, you know.
Thank you. I wanted to say that I have the privilege of watching the 4 of you form friendships and bond. And I think that one of the things that I observed was also how authentic you guys were with each other, so that when you did struggle, you shared it. And I think that created also a safe space. So that, oh, you struggled too? Oh, okay. And again, it didn't make you so unique that, oh, I thought I was the only one that was going through this. And I really felt that was shared. Oh, yeah. I think that I felt lucky that you also were very open with us, with me, when you were struggling. And I think I also observed that happening with Armando, who's a professional, also wanting to support you. And I think if students are willing to ask for help, if it's not with with a MESA director or with an industry person that you kind of see as a mentor, is that you did it with each other. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm kind of hoping too, that students can see, is sometimes you creating friendships, you didn't even know where this friendship was going to go and right. What direction you all were going to take. So I thank you for giving back, because I really think that's super important. I want to, and I think similar to, it was said by one of you, I think in terms of, I want to see the younger group, you guys that are listening, to take on the baton and keep this going. Me and Armando want to retire and have fun, but know that it's in good hands. Right. We'll never stop, because I think we're hooked. Okay, So if I don't think I'm going to stop and we're going to keep working with you, I don't think Armando's going to stop. I don't think the 4 Ingenieros are going to stop. I'm just hoping that we just keep this, your feedback, your loop, whatever you're looking for, that we just keep it going. So muchas gracias.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Oh, well, thank
you know, and seriously, the students, contact them. Their website is there for a reason. You will not be ignored. If you can't do the competition now because you transferred, you can come back as a volunteer. Those of you that are still here with us, then you just ask us and we'll let you know when things are happening. So gracias a todos. Anything else? Everybody just say goodbye or applause. And I'll let everybody get back to school and get back to work.
All right, Noe, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.
you.
Thank
Take it
you.
easy.
Take care.